morning students, and welcome back to your chemistry class. I had already begun with this chapter of hydrogen, and in the previous video I had explained you how to prepare hydrogen by water. This we had done in the previous video, and today I am going to talk about how to prepare hydrogen gas by the dilute acids and also by the alkali. So these two methods we are going to do in today's video, right? So once again, before I start explaining you, I'm going to write down the activity series over here. Once if you remember the activity series, it becomes very easy to understand all these reactions. So let us write down the activity series here. Like we have potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, then aluminium, zinc, iron, lead, hydrogen, copper, mercury, silver and gold, all that. So this is the series that you have to learn over here. Now hydrogen, it can be displaced from either using dilute HCl, or we can also use dilute H2SO4. Okay, these two acids could be used. Now we do not use dilute HNO3 for preparation of hydrogen gas. Remember, dilute HNO3 is not used, okay, in the preparation of hydrogen gas, right? So why is it so? Because nitric acid, it is a powerful oxidizing agent. Why? The reason is because nitric acid, HNO3 acid or dilute HNO3 acid is a powerful oxidizing agent, okay, and it oxidizes hydrogen to water. So instead of forming hydrogen, it oxidizes that hydrogen to form water. Clear? But yes, except magnesium and manganese, these two, they can form or give hydrogen by 1% dilute HNO3, but none of these metals can prepare hydrogen with dilute HNO3. I hope this point is very clear. This reaction I'm going to write right at the end. So first point that you need to remember over here, that which acid is used for the preparation of this hydrogen gas. That is either using dilute HCl or using dilute H2SO4. We do not use dilute HNO3. The reason I have mentioned over here. Only and only two metals, that is magnesium and manganese, can prepare hydrogen gas if they are treated with 1% dilute HNO3. Clear? So let us begin the reactions using the dilute acid. So I move ahead with the potassium. Potassium, when treated with, I'm starting with HCl. Okay, so what kind of an acid should it be? It should be cold and dilute. Okay, now when I'm using dilute, now I'm not going to use the word dilute over here, because all these metals from potassium to iron, everywhere we are going to use dilute acid. So this word dilute, once I am writing, now I'm not going to talk about dilute acid because that is what I have written over here. But yes, I will explain you where do we need cold acid and where do we need warm acid, right? So when we are treating potassium with cold HCl, cold dilute HCl, it forms a vigorous, violent, explosive reaction. It is an exothermic reaction. Lot of heat is given out and it forms KCl plus H2. This is the gas that is formed over here. Okay. Similarly, sodium, it also can react with cold dilute HCl and can form what? NaCl, the salt, and hydrogen gas is given out. So over here, one thing that you need to remember in acids, whenever the acids they react with a metal, they always will form a salt and hydrogen gas will be given out. What had I told you in water? Whenever the metal is dropped in water, it is going to form a hydroxide, that is an alkali, and hydrogen gas will be given out. Similarly, whenever a metal is treated with dilute acid, it is going to form its respective salt. Like here I am using HCl, so chloride salts are formed over here and hydrogen gas is given out. Suppose I use H2SO4. So now it is going to form the sulfate, salt, and hydrogen gas will be given out. So over here, calcium also reacts with cold dilute acid and forms calcium sulfate plus hydrogen. So over here, all the reactions will be exothermic. This point should be very clear to you. From potassium to iron, all the reactions will be exothermic. Clear? Now, this potassium is vigorous, violent, explosive. This is vigorous and violent, but not explosive. Sodium. Calcium is vigorous, but not violent or explosive. So, what are we studying over here? As we are going down the activity series, their reactivity towards the acid is decreasing. Are you getting my point? As we are going down, the reactivity with the acid is decreasing. So over here, though we are using dilute acid, but this is just a vigorous reaction, but it is not violent, it is not at all explosive also. But yes, it is exothermic because lot of heat is given out in the form of hydrogen gas. Now talking about magnesium. Magnesium can combine with dilute acid, but here it cannot combine with cold dilute acid. So over here you need a warm dilute acid. Means you have to heat the acid a little bit for magnesium to react, and hence it is going to form magnesium chloride plus hydrogen gas will be given out. Okay. Similarly for aluminium, it also needs warm acid. So let me take HCl over here. Warm acid, it forms AlCl3 plus hydrogen gas is given out. Right. Now let's talk about zinc. Zinc also, it will react with dilute acid, but here with the zinc has to be heated. Okay. And your warm acid is used over here to form zinc chloride plus hydrogen gas is released. Let's talk about iron. So iron, over here I am writing it down. Okay, it can combine with H2SO4, dilute H2SO4. What is it going to give? It is going to give us FeSO4 plus hydrogen gas. Okay, now let's talk about lead. Lead, which is just placed above hydrogen, it cannot be used in the preparation of hydrogen using dilute acids. So dilute acid is only used till where? Till iron. Now here we need concentrated acid. Okay, so with I'm writing it down over here. Like for example, Pb when reacts with HCl. Now this is your concentrated acid. So what is it going to give us? It will give us PbCl2 plus hydrogen gas. But here what happens? Here this PbCl2, it forms an insoluble coating. It forms an insoluble coating and does not allow the reaction to proceed. And hence we get say 1 or 2% of hydrogen only. So that does not solve the purpose of collecting hydrogen, and hence lead is not used for the preparation of hydrogen gas. Even lead, when treated with concentrated H2SO4, it will give us PbSO4. Now this PbSO4 also forms an insoluble coating and hinders the reaction to completion, and therefore we do not use them, though the reaction will take place, but we do not use this process for the collection of hydrogen gas. Now what about these metals? These metals, they are placed below hydrogen. They cannot replace hydrogen from the acid, so they do not show any reaction with dilute acids. Yeah, I hope the hydrogen can be prepared by dilute acid is very clear to all of you, right? We next move to the method how to obtain hydrogen gas by the alkalis. Now, with the dilute HNO3, let's see, as I had told you, with dilute HNO3, we cannot prepare hydrogen. Why? Because it is a strong oxidizing agent, and what you saw in the previous reactions with dilute HCl and H2SO4, that the hydrogen gas was liberated. Over here, this, since being a strong oxidizing agent, it oxidizes hydrogen to water and therefore defeats the purpose of collecting hydrogen gas, and therefore we do not use dilute HNO3 for the preparation of it. But yes, for magnesium and manganese, these are the only two metals which can react with dilute HNO3 to form the hydrogen gas. So let's see this. This can be treated with 1% dilute HNO3, okay, forming magnesium nitrate plus hydrogen gas. Or over here, this also can combine with 1% dilute HNO3 to form manganese nitrate, okay, and hydrogen gas. Clear? I hope this is very clear. And what I was trying to explain you, if we take zinc and treat it with HNO3, so what it is going to form? It will form zinc nitrate plus, you must be thinking it is going to form hydrogen. No, it will not form hydrogen. Why? Because this being a strong oxidizing agent, it will oxidize this hydrogen to water, and even nitric oxide will be given out. So can you see in this reaction, is there any release of hydrogen gas or collection of hydrogen gas? No. So we do not use dilute HNO3 for collecting hydrogen gas except for magnesium and manganese. I hope this point is very clear. Now we are going to study how to prepare hydrogen prepared by the alkalis. Now, what is an alkali? Strong alkalis are your NaOH and your KOH, okay? And your weak alkalis, they are your CaOH whole twice and even magnesium hydroxide. So I am not talking about this. I am not talking about weak alkalis. I am talking about strong alkalis. So hydrogen can be prepared by the strong alkalis, right? Now have you understood why did I use the word strong? So if you do not use the word strong, your marks will be deducted. Clear? So hydrogen can also be prepared by the strong alkalis. What are those strong alkalis? Could be NaOH or KOH. So what kind of metals do react with strong alkalis to form hydrogen? They are only few that you have to remember. That is metals like zinc, lead and aluminium. Okay, these are the only three metals which can react with strong alkalis, and therefore they are termed as amphoteric metals. Right? What are they termed as? Amphoteric metals. Now what are amphoteric metals? These are those metals which can react with both acid and bases. Now if you remember, in the previous part of this video, I had shown you how this zinc, lead and aluminium, they were easily getting reacted with the acids. And here now they are going to also react with the alkalis. Whereas all other elements like your sodium, potassium, they only react with the acids but they do not react with the alkalis. Clear? Do remember that. So the metals which can react with the strong alkalis are only zinc, lead and aluminium, and these metals they are also called as amphoteric metals. If their oxides are formed, that is ZNO, PbO or Pb3O4 or Al2O3, then it is called as amphoteric oxides. If they form the hydroxides like ZnOH whole twice, PbOH whole twice, AlOH whole thrice, right? Then what are they termed as? Amphoteric hydroxides. Because these are amphoteric metals, so all these oxides and hydroxides of amphoteric metals, they can react with acids as well as bases. I hope this point is very clear. So here in this chapter, since we have to prepare hydrogen, so I am not going to talk about the amphoteric oxides and hydroxides. That was just for your general knowledge. So here we have to prepare hydrogen, and hydrogen can be prepared only by using metals. So I am going to discuss about only amphoteric metals reacting with the strong alkalis. That is all that I have to tell you over here. Okay, so let's go ahead with the zinc. So zinc, when treated with a strong alkali, let me take NaOH. Okay, so here it is going to form a complex salt. Now with the acids, they form simple salts. Okay, simple salts that I had told you respective salts. When we were using HCl, then chloride salt was formed. When we were using sulfuric acid, then sulfate salts were formed. Here we are using nitric acid, so nitrate salt is formed. Clear? So with acid, simple salts are formed. With alkalis, complex salts are formed. Okay, this point you remember. With alkalis, now I am going to show you what are those complex salts that are formed over here. So when zinc, it is treated with the strong alkali, that is strong concentrated. Strong alkali, I mean to say it is a concentrated solution of the alkali. Clear? So it is going to form a complex salt. What is that complex salt called as? Sodium zincate. What is this? Sodium zincate. I'll write it down over here. Sodium zincate plus hydrogen gas is given out. Okay. This zinc, when combines with KOH, what is it going to form? It will form K2ZnO2 plus hydrogen. So what is this form? Now this was sodium zincate. This is potassium zincate. Clear? So these are what? These are termed as complex salts. What are these? These are complex salts. Similarly, zinc, when it is treated with an acid, it will form what? ZnCl2 plus H2. So what is this? This is your simple salt. This is your simple salt. And what are these? These are your complex salt. So this is very clear to you. Now let us talk about lead. So let me take lead and treat it with NaOH. So now you tell me what is the complex salt that is formed over here. A complex salt called as sodium plumbite plus hydrogen gas will be given out. So let me write it down. Sodium plumbite and hydrogen gas is given out. Then lead can also be treated with KOH. So here what it is going to form? It will form K2PbO2 plus H2. What is this? Potassium plumbite and hydrogen gas. So both are what? Complex salt. Clear? Then let's talk about aluminium. Now aluminium, it is a harder metal as compared to your lead and your zinc, right? So this aluminium, it has to be treated with water also along with your strong alkalis. So aluminium, when it is treated with NaOH, we add a little water to it. Others we don't need water, but here we need water to be added, and then it is going to give us sodium meta-aluminate, that is NaAlO2. What is this? Sodium meta-aluminate, which is a complex salt, and hydrogen gas will be given out. Similarly, aluminium balancing you can do on your own. Yes or no? Or should I balance it? Okay, let me check this. This will be 2, this will be 2, hydrogen 2 and 2, 4. Oxygen, this will be 3. So now this is balanced. Okay, now let's talk about aluminium treated with KOH. So over here also it requires water. So what it is going to form? Sodium. It is going to form potassium meta-aluminate plus hydrogen gas will be formed. Balancing this also 2, 2, 2, 2, 3. Clear? I hope all these reactions are clear to you. Now I was saying about oxides and hydroxides. Okay, the oxides and hydroxides. Now see what difference does it make. When metal is treated with strong alkali, salt and hydrogen gas is given out. If I use amphoteric oxide, now this becomes what? An amphoteric oxide. When treated with strong alkali, complex salt will be formed and water will be formed. Instead of hydrogen gas, it will now form water. Clear? Similarly, aluminium, when treated with sodium hydroxide or water, it is forming what? Hydrogen gas. But if I convert this to an oxide, say Al, let me remove this and then write down Al2O3. Now I am not balancing it just now. Balancing will be okay. So now look over here. This has become an amphoteric oxide when treated with sodium hydroxide, and now it does not require water. Why it does not require water? Because it is already in its oxide state. So when it does not, it is in its oxide state, it does not require water. It is going to form sodium meta-aluminate, and instead of hydrogen gas, it will form water. Similarly, if I use aluminium hydroxide, okay, and then also we do not use water. Why? Because it is already in its oxide state, and then it is going to form a complex salt, and instead of hydrogen gas, again water will be formed over here also. So what did we understand? With metal we always obtain hydrogen gas. Okay, with oxides or hydroxides, what are these? These I am talking about amphoteric. Amphoteric metal, hydrogen gas it is going to give with your strong alkalis. Amphoteric oxides or hydroxides with strong alkalis, what are they going to give? They will, instead of hydrogen, it is going to give us water. And in both the cases salt will be formed. In both the cases salt will be formed. What kind of salt will be formed? Complex salt when treated with alkalis. I hope this is very clear. So I stop over here. Revise all these reactions well. Thank you.